GM, everyone. Grateful you're here. Hope you're not too hungover. I am excited to be with you all. Today we got a very diverse group of individuals, all managing multiple communities, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get a variety of insight into their different positions and what our goal is to help you all, as I'm sure many of you are involved in Web3, and we want to help you succeed. So without further ado, I'd like to first start off by introducing Kutschenko. He is he's a founder of the community for Anthony Tedesco, one of the most impressive 3D artists out of Hamburg, Germany. Give him a round of applause. And then next we have Bazdarich. He is a full-time restaurant owner, Michelin star winner, and he is also a full-time DJ, so you may have heard of him. Here he is. Give him a round of applause. Next up, we have Crypt Gal. She is working with the King of Midtown. She is part-time in LA, and she now just opened her digital gallery here in New York. Give it up for Crypt Gal. And then last but not least, we have Stevey. And Stevey is the head of community for the platform that I'm sure you're all very familiar with, OpenSea. Give it up for Stevey. So thank you all for being here. I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to speak with you all. If you don't mind, we'd like to start off by just giving a brief introduction of who you are and kind of what your role is with regards to community and building a loyal community. Let's start off with Stevey. Go ahead.
Hey y'all, my name's Stevey, head of community at OpenSea. Been in the community building world for 12 plus years in different capacities, first in the music industry and then in the world of live events with a company called Summit Series. Went full-time Web3, joined a company called Dharma. We were a crypto smart wallet that was acquired by OpenSea, and have since been the head of community at OpenSea, focusing on things like our digital events, live events, digital community building, different creator and collector engagement campaigns, working on things like grants and other community building initiatives. And yeah, it's been a really fun ride, having the blessing of being a community builder for communities of NFT projects, which are about as fun as they get.
Very, very cool. Let's go to Crypt Gal. Please introduce yourself and let them know what you do.
Hi, everyone. My name is Vasia, Makris. I joined the space about a year ago because King of Midtown, who's a collector in the space and founder of the Crypt Gallery, was a personal friend of mine. And I used to actually be an elementary school teacher, so my background was not anything to do with art or technology. I taught 4th and 5th graders, but together we basically built the Crypt Gallery, which is a digital art gallery. It's the first digital art gallery in the hospitality industry. So we opened our first location last July in Hollywood. So we opened at the Dream Hollywood, and we actually opened our second location at the Dream Downtown 2 days ago. So we're very excited, and it's actually, I think, one of the largest permanent NFT galleries in the space, because we have close to, I think, 80 screens, and we were able to have more than 50 artists attend our event the last 2 days. So it was really cool getting everyone together. We do have a membership, which we are building our community through Discord and having in-person events. So it's been super exciting being able to interact in person and digitally as well, and kind of bridge the gap as we're trying to build the space and bring in more people and collectors too.
Beautiful. Wonderful. Justin, please.
Hi, I'm Justin Bazdarich. My full-time gig is I'm a chef restaurateur. I've been a chef in New York City and in Brooklyn for about 20 years now. Through the pandemic, the restaurant industry has always been challenging. Past the pandemic, it's even harder. And so, I don't know, I kind of always in terms of the crypto space, getting into the crypto space, I'd always felt like I'd missed it. And about 18 months ago, I had a friend who posed the question, could a recipe or could food be an NFT? And from there, I I never heard of an NFT. And so I started to learn, study, and, I thought I was going to be the genius that was going to solve that question and be the first person to do anything in the food and sort of Web3 space. I think time has allowed and learning has allowed for me to just be patient and see what happens as we go. But with all that learning, I've started to collect, I've started to meet people in the space, and understand what like building a community can be. So I am a degen, yes, true. I've been a degen before the Web3 came, but even more now, so happy to be here.
Wonderful. Kucho, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Kutschenko. I joined the NFT space early last year, first as a collector, and then I collected some art of my favorite artist's name is Anthony Tudisco. He's an artist from Hamburg, Germany, a 3D designer. And then I actually reached out to him, we got in touch, and my background is in organizational consulting, so I shared some ideas with him of how he might be able to effectively navigate the NFT space. And then actually now at this point, I'm officially his strategic partner. In that role, I help him on one hand managing his community, but then also help him manage brand partnerships that he has. And yeah, just in the last couple of months, he's at an intersection between art and fashion. So just in the last couple of months, we've announced some partnerships with some high-end fashion brands like Louis Vuitton and Chanel and Balenciaga. Aside from that, I've also co-founded a community called The Hodl. It's an investor community for people that take on a very long-term mindset and how they look at the NFT space. So excited to be here and have this conversation about community.
Wonderful. So as you can see, we have quite a diverse panel of individuals, all focusing on communities in Web3, but very, very unique in their own way. Let's start off with Crip Gal. She's got an incredible gallery. I highly recommend you all go check it out. It's very easy. Go on Google Maps, type in PhD, and you will see exactly where it's located at. She has a token-gated community online. They sold their NFT initially through Nifty Gateway. I was hoping that you could discuss a little bit with the audience about how you're able to reward your community members or enable them to have greater opportunities by holding your NFT token.
Okay, so we have a King of Midtown membership, which we were fortunate to drop in October last year, and I think we actually broke records with how many we sold in 10 minutes. The open editions, we have over 7,000 holders that sold in those 10 minutes, and we have a gold and a platinum tier. Because we do have the physical gallery, we are able to offer that to our members as a perk. Besides when we host events and like giving them like open bar access or VIP entrance, we can also give them the digital perk of putting up their art. So as a collector or as an artist, if you hold a membership token, once a month we curate certain areas dedicated to our community, and we're able to display artwork from people all over the world that obviously wouldn't have that kind of exposure or visibility in now 2 different locations, because we're based in LA and now we have the New York. And just being in the hospitality industry, we have that audience that's constantly rotating. It's like new guests all the time, the international audience. We have families coming in, but we have business, people scheduling their corporate meetings there. We have celebrities coming through the space, so that exposure is pretty huge, and I think we're trying to take advantage and bring artists and collectors to the forefront and give them the exposure that I think they deserve. And the membership also gives you other perks, like being able to get access to drops that only members might hold, or if we do collaborations with other communities, our members might get access to certain pieces. So we're kind of trying to bridge it and bring in physical and digital perks for our holders.
It's pretty amazing. I highly, highly recommend you all check it out when you get a chance. Speaking of holding a token to get rewards, Justin Bazdarich, he's looking at creating an NFT for some of his most loyal customers of is it 4 restaurants all over New York?
I have 3. I have 3
restaurants?
But I think it would be, if I did an NFT project, it'd probably be with my oldest restaurant that I have it's been about 10 years.
Yeah, feel free to explain a little bit of your thoughts behind it and how you intend on rewarding the community that you've already created in real life with regards to your restaurant.
Yeah, sure. I like historically, restaurants have always been a catalyst to community, or a place for people to go and meet in real life to be a part of their community and help it grow, or however, as a meeting place or a place for to be refreshed with food and beverage, and that comes with hospitality. And I think that I had always thought that I would do I guess in the very beginning, like I mentioned, I was trying to figure out how to, be the first to do it, and I think there was also like a financial like tingle that was in my brain. I thought I was going to make money for the restaurant, and I think that, I think it's more about building the community up in terms of education. So if I were to do an NFT project for this brand that's the oldest, that I think would have the most legs, it would be free. It'd be a free NFT. And I think that would come mostly with the ability to teach people how to have a MetaMask wallet, how to sort of get into the space, what it would do. And, and I think that's like a very strong part of, I guess, community building to me in the brand and restaurant that I've had for 11 years is to, teach people, and I think that's more valuable than any financial gain, because I'm so excited about this space and the future of it that I think that's more important to pass on to people than the fact that they may think they can get rich one day or something else. So.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, I'm excited for that token, and I'm going to be hunting for it. Stevey, my man, you are actually looking at the whole market from a completely different perspective, more macro than any of us. And I think that you've probably had quite a few observations when you're looking at different artists and community. Can you explain some of those observations, since you're, a part of honestly, the marketplace that I'm sure every single person in this room has utilized probably multiple times?
So, I think community, the term community has like evolved a lot over the years. I think maybe even 15 years ago, people weren't really talking about communities. Communities meant like where you live, And maybe 6 or 8 years ago, it started to become like a buzzword within certain subsets of, different businesses, and now it's like a key driver and engine for whole ecosystems. NFT, Web3, community is like so important here. But I think there's maybe like a common through line with communities. I think effective community building really, I think, is done when one can create like the forums and the infrastructure for people. I think communities, like if I were to spend my time with individuals, like one-on-one, it's more like relationship building, which is also very important. But I think if I could spend my time like building the forums for individuals to meet one another, co-create with and for one another, that's like a lot more effective community building, allowing the individuals to just really be able to create the value themselves. It's also like very interesting in this space how individual artists and creators, and even people that don't have artist or creator backgrounds, they can now create their own subsets of communities with NFTs, launch projects right away, and the dynamics that get created are like individuals who feel aligned with different projects. All these projects have different aesthetic, ethos, roadmaps. They're all different. And now individuals can just find ones that they feel aligned with. With a little bit of ETH and a few clicks, you can become a part of that project. You can also now essentially like put yourself on a cap table. You can buy one NFT, you could buy 50 NFTs, you can like buy in proportionate ownership that you want. And you can immediately like get to work and start creating for these projects. And this concept of like aligned incentives is really so amazing. And I think NFTs are really flipping things on their head in this way. Previously, if an employee is working at a company and you had stock options in the company, like your incentive is to get to work for some long-term hope. And now you can, again, with a few clicks and a little ETH, buy into these things, get to work immediately. And I think, one last thing I'd share is, again, I think this idea of community has been around for, or I guess it's maybe only been called community for a few years. We used to maybe call it things like customers or consumer base or regulars. Let's take an example here on stage. One of Justin's restaurants is Speedy Romeo, which, by the way, if you guys came for a hot take here today, Speedy Romeo, best pizza, all of Brooklyn. Heard it here first. But Speedy Romeo has had a cult following forever. And like over the years, the best that an individual could do is, support by just buying pizza. Or maybe you could buy merch and like have a signal and wear a hat. But now, if Speedy Romeo were an NFT project, or if he were to incorporate NFTs in different kind of ways, like he could have individual community members buy in, share in the upside, represent in a totally different way, create for you in a totally different way. So I think some of these concepts aren't really super new. They're just new kind of digital primitives that are allowing for these things to happen. So it's just really cool to see kind of the playing field from my vantage point, to see all the different methods that different projects are using. And there's 3 amazing examples of that on stage here.
Beautiful, beautiful. Kutcho, you are not only a strategic partner of the artist Anthony Tedesco, you are full-time running Discords. There are so many different ways that, like Stevie mentioned, that you can empower your community members to actually help each other to grow the community in almost like a snowball effect, get the wheels spinning. What are some of the strategies that you've seen or that you've implemented with your online platforms to help the community further develop and get to that next level?
Yeah, I mean, one thing, building onto what Stevie said, I agree that it's about like creating these forums for your community to actually organize themselves. So I think what's really as important is to think about, like, both virtually but also in real life, what are these types of forums that you can create for your community? And so virtually, these might be things like making sure you have a very well managed Discord server. And then, in person, it might be things like using an opportunity like this huge event here, right, to maybe organize a meetup for the people that are very passionate about the work that you do. Specifically, what we also do for our communities is we actually track how much everyone engages with the community. So what we're using is, we use actually a Discord bot that gives you a level depending on how much you are contributing to the community by like sharing messages and so on. And then what we do is the higher level you have, we will actually give you some rewards that are associated with that. And so how that might look like, it might be like a moderator role that you're getting, so you're going to get more into like the inner circle of what we're building. Or also at other times, it might be things like raffles or free NFTs. But we really want to incentivize people to be like very active contributors to those communities. Also, I think what's really important is to very closely listen to your communities and to their input and feedback. For the HODL, for example, one of the investor community that I'm helped to manage, for that we always listen to what are the projects that the community is most excited about. And then based on that, on an ongoing basis, we're actually updating like the Discord structure. Those are also the topics that we focus on other mediums like Twitter Spaces, YouTube streams, and so on. So it's always about really listening to what the community is excited about and then adjusting based on that. And I feel like that really drives, from what I've seen, that really drives engagement in the community if you clearly show how much you actually listen to the community and incorporate the input.
Very, very good. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I am giving the panel a little bit of a free throw right here. I am curious for each of you, and we'll start with you, Stevie, because you got the macro perspective. I'm curious on what advice, we have many creators in the audience right now, many artists, maybe they're working to start their own business, and regardless if it's in Web3 community, having a loyal community specifically is so essential. What advice would you give to the audience, it could be very broad, to help harness the power of community in Web3?
Jonathon's trying to get the audience the alpha here. Nice work. Really, I think what I'll say is nothing that's really groundbreaking. I think it's maybe things you all have heard in different iterations, but I think listening is the most important thing that you could do. Listening to your community members, to your audience, and then not only listening, but then executing upon that feedback. I think there's like only so much each of you can do by way of, laying out a roadmap, again, maybe creating a certain aesthetic with your project, and then I think building 50, 60% of it, sharing it with the world, and then listening to your community and figuring out the other 40% as you go is a really amazing way to just co-create with community members. So listening and executing upon that feedback, I think adding value through utility is really important. I think there was a moment where the PFP projects really shined because they were something that were very novel. They're no longer novel. Figuring out how to not only create a creative, beautiful looking project, but also figuring out what does that get you. I think actually this week has been really cool to see how many different projects are hosting different events, all sorts of events. I mean, large ones, small ones, multiple days for holders only and for everybody. It's really amazing to see how a lot of these projects are now really turning into like multi-million-dollar brands. And I think so much of that, these events would be an example of utility, and really hopefully it's just one small example of utility. So I think creating the right feedback loops, executing upon that feedback, figuring out how your NFTs can provide value in more ways than one are really good starting points. I'll just lay the first 60% and let the rest of the 40% be figured out here.
Yes, so Kripkal, just 2 quick sentences on what advice you would give to the audience about, based on your experience, about how they can harness the power of community in Web3.
Well, I mean, I think he covered a lot of that. And I just, to build off of it, I guess it's just showing up. I mean, being genuine to the community. At the end of the day, this is all super new. We're all learning very quickly. The space doesn't stop. So I think just being genuine and organically connecting with people, and I think just not viewing anyone as competition yet. I think it's too early. And I mean, we're a gallery, and there's so many other NFT galleries, but I think we're all just growing together, and it's a matter of putting all our resources together to grow in the right direction. And if you're genuine, people see that, and that's how you grow, I think, in a community organically that's going to be there in the long run, because that's the kind of community I think we all want. So.
Perfect. Baza, just 1 or 2 sentences of what advice you have?
I mean, humility, patience, I think, is important, to not try to figure it all out in one shot. And I mean, I think people want to be heard, people want to be listened to, as, Stevey said. And, I think that, that just goes so far, and people want to be a part of. I think helping others, too, to get there is very important. But yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Kucho?
Yeah, I would say making sure just you really spend time to get to know your community and show them you truly care about them. And I think just spending time with them, that goes a long way for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all very much for attending. We're all here to help you. We'd love to speak with you. Please find us online, and we would love to get to know you all. This is Web3, and I promise we are going to make it. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks, all.